The blood moon and the lunar eclipse are upon us. If you close your eyes, you can feel it. Out there, stirring in the darkness, a leviathan in the shadowy abyss. With any luck at all, we'll be waist deep in the woo before the morning comes. Welcome back to Arkansas Bigfoot, everybody. Glad you could come out with us this evening. We have made it to the blood moon and the lunar eclipse tonight. Wasn't sure if the weather was going to cooperate or not, but so far, so good. We have decided to set up the entire buffet out here in the grove area. If you can imagine the center of a wagon wheel, that's what the grove area is to the woods. We got our regular gifting area off in the direction that the camera's pointing. Skunk Island over here to my right through that stuff. Mound area back in that direction. We got the little dismal bog running in behind here. We got a interesting pile of quartz right there and no other rocks in the area around it. It's like it's mounded up. I don't know where it came from other than it's been here since we've been here, but we're gonna hopefully slip out here later tonight after dark, bring some of the night equipment and gadgets and sit and listen for a while. Well, let me show you what we got going on for their buffet today. Now bear in mind that about 90% of everything you see and everything that we bring out here 2 and sometimes 3 times a week comes from viewers graciously donating for all of this. And we can't thank you guys enough. It's fantastic. We wouldn't be able to do it without that type of help. We've got their peanut butter and sardines, cookies, granola bars, apples. There's rice cakes in there, oranges, raisins, moon pies. Got blue corn chips in that bag, peaches. Got a pepperoni pizza with sardines, Pringles, looks like some shrimp fries. More cookies, apples, oranges, sardines, peanut butter, raisins. I mean, just everything going on right here. So like I said, our idea is to come sit on the opposite fringe of this later tonight if the rain holds out and the weather cooperates, and see what we see and hear what we hear. I think we're gonna take a little walk back in that direction for a few minutes, but for those of you that are new to the channel, a few things I want to air out, and then we'll shake the dust from our feet and roll forward from here. Rachel and I are all about the woo. Always have been, always will be.
It seems to be all about us too.
We come from a 30-year foundational history of exploring and dealing with things that are paranormal, metaphysical, supernatural. We tend to approach and look at everything a little more quantum oriented than some people do. If that's not your thing, no harm, no foul, but that's where we're at, and we're not going to quit being us because 1 or 2 people don't like it.
Yeah. Sort of kind of just been the path that we've been put on.
Everybody's got their own thing, and this is ours. one of the other things is we have never belonged to any type of organized Bigfoot group.
No.
Never had a desire to, never will. Primarily because we're all about the woo. And when you start getting into those types of groups, it becomes very political. And it just...
They don't go together.
Doesn't seem to go together. Like I said, no harm, no foul. If that's your thing, knock
Certainly.
yourself out. There's plenty of other things to go watch beyond that. But we have always felt that in the realm of Sasquatch, there are a lot more elements at play than just them. Other cryptids, elementals literally, other unseen things that come and go at will. It just, there's a plethora of things that are involved. It's not just, a hairy hominid out in the woods that nobody's been able to capture yet. If you enjoy listening to the same old 50-year-old argument about who poured the best cast or found the best structure or who has the stinkiest bag of hair, and that's your thing, knock yourself out, man. It's not our thing. We like to look a little deeper and probe a little farther.
Once in a while we might make a cast, but it's just not a point of focus.
Like I said in the last video, these groceries don't eat themselves. The volume that we bring out here, that would have to equate to an 800-pound raccoon running around to eat the copious quantity of stuff that gets left.
800-pound raccoon.
There's one over there we'll pick up and put in the trash bucket on our way back out of the woods, and I can see that the top of it's been ripped up off of there. We find those a lot lately where the lid's been torqued to the right instead of the left and twisted off the wrong way. And that's not some little 10-pound critter that's going to do that.
No, if a raccoon can do that, I really don't want to meet that raccoon.
One of the things I'm sure a lot of people aren't aware of recently is the major shift that's been going on from the 3D to the 5D.
Mm-hmm.
Big
time.
3D being all about the material world, work, possessions, dog eat dog, the rat race everyone's familiar with. And the 5D being more
harmonically balanced.
Yeah, and ethereal and open-minded, realizing how much everything is all connected and tied together.
And being able to kind of have access to see more out of that intuitive side. So it's interesting. We're just in the very baby stages of it, so we're still going to get tail end.
Which it's no coincidence that here over the past year especially,
it's been difficult.
More and more people have been experiencing a lot more phenomena than what would be considered normal.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like how science fiction becomes science fact after a while. Paranormal becomes normal after a while. It's the same thing. So end of the day, about 98% of everybody that comes to visit is fantastic and wonderful, and we are grateful for them in more ways than we can verbally express. But just like anything else, work, school, other things that you're involved in, there's always that small handful fringe of parasitical bottom feeders that want to try to ruin it for everybody else. We just keep marching forward and do what we do. If you don't like it, that's your problem. But we're not going to change being us because of it. So the dust from our feet, and let's roll forward.
It's interesting.
It's probably around 5:30 or 5:45 right now. And we're not going to stay out here very long at this point because we want to come back later on after dark. Another thing, now that I'm thinking about it, thinking about coming back after dark, we experiment a lot with gadgets and apps and EMF meters and just all kinds of different things. That's for our own satisfaction, to see what we can see on them, hear what we can hear on them, and we share that with you. If that's not your thing, like I said, no harm, no foul.
And sometimes it's our way to find out which are viable and which aren't, and you know, it's just experimental. And we always let the family know if we've got them, what our intentions are. That way they have their own choices to make in it.
And no, we don't use any more trail cameras. Been there, done that.
Over it.
Way over it. Doesn't work for us.
If somebody else has luck with it, they're really
actually more detrimental to our activities out here than it is a help. If that's your thing, that's your thing. But we're not using them, aren't going to use them.
Just taking a few pictures.
Now here's a neat little trick for picking up ethereal faces and forms that appear every once in a while in videos. Not just ours, I'm talking about everybody's. If you got the video playing on the computer screen or the TV, put your camera on that mode like that and look at the imagery. And through the double digital imagery, a lot of times you can see vividly the faces, the body shapes, the shadow silhouettes, the shimmering silhouettes appear. Kind of fascinating.
Yeah, and it's interesting because sometimes if I just have my phone or my naked eye, I might be able to pick up on a kind of an energy blurb. But when I have my readers on...
Is that knocking over?
Mm-hmm. When I have my readers on, there's something about that double lens factor, and it seems to work the same with my glasses on, not just looking through the camera. So just play around with it and see what helps you. I do think with this dimensional shift that we are going to start really experiencing or seeing things that just don't quite go in with the normal patterning of what we've kind of been used to. So just keep an open mind. Don't try to judge yourself or judge your environment. Just observe it, just observe it.
A lot of people have sent us imagery of what looks like, I don't know what to call it other than it looks like spaghetti or spiderweb plasma that kind of strings through an area.
Yeah, and some of the interdimensional energies, I think, also produce that. And it's as things have been reaching the 3D, it gains more mass. It gains more form, I guess is the way to put it. And for anyone that's not quantumly minded, that might not make sense, but as things come from those ethers, if you will, and into the 3D, it creates, how would you word that? It creates a material experience. That's as close as I can get. So
I had a short conversation with an individual the other day, and they were talking about reading about or hearing about several different reports about the Sasquatch appearing around nuclear power stations and nuclear sites. And we've talked several times, especially on your videos, about them being in a more radiation oriented field
in the light spectrum,
the light spectrum, and how they draw and they can feed off of that. So that would be its own buffet in that regard, which would explain why there would be activity around places like that. It's kind of like plugging in your electric car to recharge it.
And one thought that came to mind on that was each of these plants has a certain amount of, what do we call it, leakage, or a certain amount of energy that is still radioactive. It's not necessarily healthy, but it can be absorbed, or some of these energies can absorb it in a way that not only helps the earth and helps us, but helps them. So it feels very triangulated.
The light bodies and light energies, they feed off of the sun, they feed off of the nuclear radiation, they feed off of the gamma radiation, they feed off of the photosynthesis in the plants, the chlorophylls out of the plants. It all emits a low gamma radiation. It's a nutrient, it's an energy source.
Vitamin.
Well, we have made our way back to the mound, and I think this is where we're going to leave it with you for right now. Hopefully, if the rain holds out, we'll be back out here in a few hours and experiment a little more. Appreciate you stopping by. We'll catch you down the trail.